Hello, help keep these videos free, current, and available for every student. Consider supporting by scanning the QR code to contribute. Any amount helps. Thank you.
If your project involves live vertebrate animals at school, at home, on a farm, or out in the field, you'll use Form 5A. If you're working at a regulated research institution instead of school or home, on a farm, or out in the field, you'll use Form 5B and institutional approvals instead. But before you travel very far down this idea, you must consider the justification on using a vertebrate animal and not an invertebrate animal. The Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee, IACUC, says you must consider the 3 Rs. They are replacement, use non-animal or invertebrate alternatives whenever possible. Reduction, use the fewest animals necessary to obtain valid results. And refinement, minimize pain, distress, discomfort, and improve welfare with good care, housing, and humane procedures. ISEF Rules directly addresses many more specific details in the rule document pages 10 through 12. You need to look at these pages before you consider a vertebrate animal project. I will still assist you with Form 5A. This form must be approved by your FAIR Scientific Review Committee before you begin any experimentation, so let's get it filled out correctly the first time. Start by putting your name, or your team members' names, and your full project title at the top. Keep those exactly the same as on your other forms so everything matches. Now you'll complete the student section. First, list the animal species and how many you'll use. You can give the common name or the genus and species if you know it. Be precise here. Reviewers need to see the scale of your study. Next, describe the housing and husbandry. This is a detailed paragraph about how the animals will live and be cared for every day. Include the enclosure size, how many animals per enclosure, the environment and bedding, the exact type of food, how often food and clean water are provided, how often you'll observe them, and any enrichment or temperature control you'll use. If you need more space, attach an extra page. The goal is to show that animals will be kept clean, comfortable, well-fed, and monitored daily. Then explain what happens to the animals after experimentation. Will they return to their original habitat or owner, remain in standard care, be adopted out, or continue in normal agricultural or aquaculture use? End-of-study planning is required, and euthanasia is not permitted in a school, home, or field setting for tissue removal or analysis. If you're working with wildlife or in places that require permission, attach copies of any licenses, permits, or facility approvals. That might include state wildlife permits or site permissions for collections or observations. There's also an important note about animal health. If any animal shows illness, unexpected weight loss, or there's a death, it must be investigated and documented in a letter by a veterinarian, your qualified scientist, or your direct supervisor. Keep that documentation with your forms for SRC review before competition. As a safeguard, weight should be recorded regularly. More than slight distress is not allowed, and significant weight loss triggers intervention and review. Now we move to the SRC pre-approval section. This part is completed by your local or affiliate FAIR SRC before you start. The SRC selects the required supervision level for agricultural, behavioral, or nutritional studies. They will choose one of 3 options: a direct supervisor, a veterinarian plus a direct supervisor, or a veterinarian, a direct supervisor, and a qualified scientist, with Form 2 also required in that last case. The SRC chair then signs and dates, with the date clearly before your start date. Some fairs list additional SRC members with contact info and signatures too. Next comes the veterinarian section. The vet confirms they reviewed your research and husbandry plan before you began, approves any prescription drugs or nutritional supplements if used, and agrees to provide veterinary care in case of illness or emergency. Remember, if your procedures include anything outside an animal's normal daily life, like supplemental nutrition regimens or drug administration, a veterinarian certification is required. Then the direct supervisor or the qualified scientist signs. They confirm they reviewed the research and husbandry with you before you began, accept primary responsibility for the animal's care and handling in this project, and will directly supervise the experiment. They add their contact information and the approval date. Choose someone who will actually be present when you're working with the animals. That's it. When Form 5A shows accurate species and numbers, complete housing and husbandry, a clear plan for what happens after the study, any required permits, and the right signatures from the SRC, veterinarian, and supervisor dated before you start, you're ready to proceed safely and in full compliance.
Remember, help keep these resources free, current, and available for every student. Consider supporting by scanning the QR code to contribute. Any amount helps. Thank you.